This is Ashley Hodge with a Sick'em 365 postgame call-in show after Baylor's, what was the final score, Chris? 88-87. TCU beat the Bears. Last second shot by O'Bannon. Tough loss for the Bears. That was a game that Baylor really should have won. Keontae George started off incredibly hot. Had a great first half. Got to the free throw line a lot in the second half. There were some good things to talk about. We'll talk about those things. But really, the transition defense was bad. The defense around the rim was really bad. And then just some unnecessary turnovers. So I think those are the things that we would critique. Many more things as well. But that's how you lose games at home. Bears got to bounce back quickly because they have Kansas State Saturday. And that's another key opportunity for them to get this thing headed in the right direction. And they got West Virginia next week. This is a call-in show. Call-in shows are usually better if you have calls. The number is 254-339-1122. Is that right, Jacob?
That's correct.
Jacob on the board today.
I believe so.
So do we have some calls ready already?
Not yet.
Okay. So 254-339-1122 is the number to call if you want to give your opinion, ask questions. Chris, let's talk about a few things. One thing I'm curious about is why were we pressing? Because they were carving it up, and it usually ended up with a layup for Miles, who had a terrific game. Congrats to him, 33 points. He was fantastic. He made all the plays and showed why he is probably going to be the front runner for Big 12 Player of the Year this year, or him and Jalen Wilson. And then also Damian Baugh, I thought had a couple key plays in the lane. Got to the foul line a lot. Made 9 out of 10 free throws. So that was that one question I had is why we pressed so much when it wasn't working. We didn't at the end of the game, but we did early.
Yeah, with as much trouble as we had getting back in transition, I mean, there was too many just easy layups. I mean, like you've got one-on-one, and with the speed that Miles has, he's going to get to the bucket, and there was nobody to help on the backside to come. And so if he got by the original defender, I mean, he was getting an easy layup.
Yeah. I mean, it was a competitive game in the Big 12. I don't think
not a shock.
Every game's going to be like this. It's going to be games that'll come down to a few possessions, but ultimately the offense was pretty good tonight.
Right,
giving up 1.19 points per possession to a TCU team that's very experienced, but doesn't shoot the three well, and for us to have such a hard time keeping them out of the paint and not defending. Simple dribble drives to the rim was frustrating. And then the other comment I would make is that, the unnecessary turnovers, we were talking about it during the game, stepping on stepping out of bounds. Lohner did that once, Bonner did that once. I mean, that just seems like something you should never do.
Yeah, so when you've got 15 turnovers to your opponent having 7.
Right. And
when the team that you're playing has 33 field goals and 30 of them are inside the paint.
Right.
So especially with the way the game is now, so many teams predicate their offense on the 3 ball, and they were 3 for 14. Like, you live with them shooting jump shots.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would have been okay with it if I knew that was the shot they were going to take to win the game. I would have been okay with that too.
Sure.
Instead of getting a layup. So,
sure.
That's a problem, and you would think that, and we know that Drew will go to the board and he is so good about making changes.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen one a little bit earlier tonight, but, every game in this conference is going to be tough, and I'm trying to put my best face on to deal with it because I do not like losing to those guys, and losing to them twice in a couple of months at the buzzer is horrible. Luckily, I have no TCU people at school, so that's good.
Oh, you're talking football, because it's been a minute since we've lost to him in basketball.
Yeah.
Tonight was
I'm talking about the field goal at the buzzer, so lost to him twice.
We got to return the favor when we go there to Fort Worth for sure. Let's talk about some good things. Obviously, Keontae George, his offensive performance was terrific. He ends up with 27 points. That's what we really were expecting from him. He made a lot of big plays. Just didn't get the bucket to go at the end of the game, but I really loved the way he played. Yeah. Adam Flagler didn't have a good shooting night, but he had 6 assists, 0 turnovers. That's terrific. You'll take that all day. Josh gave us some great things off the bench. Langston gave us some great things off the bench. 11 points for Josh, and he had 7 rebounds, and then Langston had 10 points. Most of those in the first half, so I thought he was great. Jalen Bridges played well too. Jalen only 8 points, but he had 7 rebounds, made a couple threes, which was good to see. Missed the last one, but that was kind of a shot that I don't think he was. It was kind of a rush shot, at the end of the shot clock.
A couple of blocks too.
He had a couple blocks. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, Jalen played great.
Yeah.
Caleb and Dale didn't give us much off the bench. That not their better games. Dale had 3 turnovers. Caleb had 3 turnovers. That was tough. Tough to overcome.
Yep. And with Caleb, what I saw in practice, the kid is a really good player.
Yeah.
And so,
he's very athletic.
It's been a struggle so far to start, just like we saw a slow start with Jalen. So hopefully, we'll ease in and get used to, because, playing in the West Coast Conference against one good team every year twice in Gonzaga is different than the grind of the Big 12.
For sure.
So it takes some getting used to. And I want to go back to Key a little bit real quick, though. What did you think about hitting the 3 quick threes within the first 3 minutes and then him getting pulled? Like, I didn't see he had a turnover. Yeah. And I don't know if he was pulled because of the turnover.
I think it's just normal rotations this guy Drew has. I get what you're saying. Feed the hot hand. But I think it's just typical, like the plan is to substitute, so-and-so. Was it Langston that came in for him? Maybe
it
Langston.
Was.
Yeah, Langston. And Langston played well as soon as he came in. So I don't think that hurt us that much, but I get what you're saying. Like, if he's hot, see if he can go on a Makai type.
Yeah, and especially with him being as streaky of a shooter as he is, I'd let him shoot until he at least misses one.
Yeah. So
I would have at least gone maybe another minute and another couple of possessions just to see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not what lost us this game. We all know what it was, and that was too many point-blank easy layups. Like, I haven't seen a shot chart yet, but I want to see how many of them are, like, in the cylinder.
LJ, it's good to have him back, first of all. He's an important player for us, not his best game. He had 3 turnovers. He was 2 for 4 from 2-point range, 1 for 5 from 3. Did have 6 for 6 from the line. But in his defense, a couple of those Miles drives were LJ just, not even really giving good effort.
It was
two in a row,
back to back,
2 in a row. Yeah. And interestingly enough, he didn't get pulled. Like, it was, he stayed on the floor, and I think Adam and Keontae got pulled at that particular time. Yep. It's frustrating. Let's talk about something good, though. Yves Missy, a 5-star recruit. Yes. The future looks very bright for Baylor basketball. Yes. We're going to have a great
There'll be some rim protection for sure.
That. Yeah,
7'6"
Josh,
wingspan.
Yeah. Josh is becoming a great rim protector, and Jalen, too. I think we're hoping to get more of that from Flo. Flo did have a terrific block on Eddie, and he ended up with only 1 block, I think. Yeah, 1 block, but it was a big one.
And
Eddie, does a guy set more moving screens than that guy?
More moving
like it's
screens,
like a defensive tackle or offensive tackle out there.
3 seconds in the lane. Like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form going to blame this loss on the officials.
We got a good whistle in the second half.
We did. But man, like to say that he fouled 1 time that's an error.
Yeah. Well, all right. Any calls, Jacob, in the hopper yet?
First one I'm seeing is Matthew Carver in Waco, Texas.
Matthew? Okay. Matthew, welcome to the Sikkim 365 postgame call-in show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Thanks for doing the show again this year.
Yeah, you bet. Are you in Waco?
Well,
you're in DC.
No, I'm not in Waco. In DC, man.
Yeah, okay. That's DC. Yeah. Threw us off. Oh, do you have a 254 number? Is that why?
That's what I'm seeing here in the queue.
Yeah.
254.
Never got rid of it.
Got it. Yep.
But wow, what did we just watch, man? I'm still dumbfounded. I can't remember the last time we scored 87 points and lost a game. I mean, or most college basketball games, you score 87 points, but something told me it was going to take 90.
Well, Texas scored over 100 yesterday and lost still.
True.
Yeah. And now, and then the next thing that scares me, we got K-State coming up on a Saturday, and I'm just worried we may have a chance to start 0-3, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, I keep telling myself, and I hope all Baylor fans are telling themselves, remember, March is all that matters. If we won this game but lost in the second round with this talent, no one will remember this win. March is all that matters. So, I mean, my question is, how do we improve this defense, and how do we cut down the turnovers this year, guys?
The turnovers should be an easier fix. Yep. The defense, I'm a little concerned. I thought the problems were fixed with the Gonzaga game, but obviously these last 2 games have been woof, eye openers how bad we've been defensively. In my opinion, it comes down to grittiness. I don't know if we have a tough, gritty team. Yeah. There are players that can be that for stretches. And I think there's some that I have optimism that they're going to be that consistently, like a Langston Love comes to mind. Mm-hmm. But as far as just, attention to detail, competitive spirit, I don't know. Like, I'll just say this from my perspective. We sit down there close to the court, and when we get back down on defense, Chris and I are usually jumping up or like trying to fire up the guys. And I just remember like Mark Vidal would look over to us and shake his head and clap his hands, or an Ish Wainwright, and we just don't have that right now. Jonathan.
I was going to say, I think there are two guys on the bench that would be like that.
Jonathan and who's
Jonathan, and I think D'Antoine. I think so. Just from what I saw in practice, he was like mouthing and just getting like he was letting people know that he was on the court and what he was doing. Yeah. So, on the practices I've been to, I think, he lacks the experience, but right. I think he's a tough-minded guy who came from JUCO and had to work his way and bust his ass for everything that he's gotten and to get to Baylor. And so I think he's going to be a tough kid. And I do think Keontae, he will turn towards the crowd and he will pump up and things like that.
Keontae's got that in streaks. No doubt. That's a good call. And, Adam certainly, I think, is
he's
a
more the silent
tough-minded. Type. Yeah. Jalen, Jalen's defense is really good. But he's just not that raw guy. Mm-hmm. He's more of a,
next play, move on.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's
up.
like the competitive fire. It's got to come from somebody on the team,
right?
And not seeing that.
That's rough, but we're only 2 games into conference. Yeah. We have won some really tough games. That UCLA win is going to carry over big.
For sure.
That Gonzaga win is going to be big.
And yes, we can lose to Kansas State. Yes, we can lose to anybody. Yep. This conference is brutal. And, I'm sure Ken Palm now has our, our conference projected record at like 8-10 after dropping this one. I'm going to look at it right now just for curiosity.
I was looking earlier, and I think Hambone posted it. Like Tech was projected with the worst record at 7-11,
and Oklahoma's 7-11 because they dropped the Iowa State game.
Well, obviously, I'm going to put Tech last just because. I hate them. But 7-11 in this conference, with as tough as it is, with the non-conference wins that they have, like that is still like a bubble or an in team. Like all 10 of these teams have a chance to go dancing. In my opinion,
I think Texas is going to fold. That is one of my working theories that I think is going to happen. I think you saw evidence of that last night. Their defense just was terrible against Kansas State. Kansas State played well. It takes two to put together that kind of scoring output. Yep. But you got a coach that obviously I don't see how they can bring him back. The longer it goes, the more I think they might. You got a player, Arterio Morris, that's like going to trial, for assaulting a girlfriend. You've got a coach that they quietly dismissed, Jarence Howard, who is sending pictures of his private parts to a recruit's mother. It's like a mess. From a character standpoint, that program is a mess. So I think that's going to crumble. Those coaches are going to be looking for other jobs, so I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas finishes last in the Big 12.
It's really shady in here. Like, you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of shade at 11 o'clock at night, but it is shady in here.
Just speaking truth. All right, do we have any other callers in the hopper, Jacob?
I believe we do.
Okay, let's listen. Let's roll through them. You're on the Sickle 360. Hey, what's going on?
It's T-Rex.
Hey, what's up, Travis? How you doing?
Long-time caller, never a listener. And I know everybody hangs up after they hear like halfway through what I talk about, so I just want to first off say, if you can be at the game Saturday, get to the Farrell Center,
right.
All right? Don't put your head down. Don't play this whole game of, oh my goodness, the team let me down. None of that crap. Don't do a K-State football scenario where we got up for a game and then all the fans get mad. They think that the team owes them something. Get to the game. If you're a fan and you can be there, whatever it takes, get to the game if you can be there. On that same note, I do want to say, hey, for a Wednesday night game at 8 o'clock, I think it was a pretty decent crowd, especially still being January. Students are still out. Bear Pit looked good. Obviously, I don't really get a good vantage because I'm sitting there this year, but they were loud. Yep. Fans seemed pretty loud. So, hey, that's a plus in my book. And I'm sure Fuentes and you, Hodge, I'm sure y'all agree with that as well, for those things outside of the game itself. So, hey, props to the fans that showed up and stayed. Nail-biter loss. It sucks. Losing to TCU in any sport sucks. I will say February 11th can't come soon enough. Your stupid got to buy 4-game bundle crap to keep Baylor fans out. Didn't work last year. I was on row 1, and like I said, nothing's going to keep me out of that crappy frog-scaled floor arena in 15 minutes from my house. So I'll see you on February 11th, TCU. You better watch out.
Yes, sir.
Because a pissed-off dinosaur's coming to town. But go ahead, Chris. It sounds like you're going to say something, Chris. But real quick, I just want to say, I'm by no means a basketball expert, so I don't know how to say what the problems tonight were. But whatever it is, we need to analyze it. We need to get it fixed. I agree with the lack of a gritty, hey, let's get down and dirty and go to work this next 5-minute stretch or whatever the case is. Like you said, a Mark Vital type or an Ish or whatever. We need that. And hey, if the coaches want somebody on the team to be that, hey, I might have eligibility. I am a current student, so I'll commute. So I'll get pissed off. I'm good for 5 fouls or 2 really blatant flagrants. So
nice. Yeah. A couple comments. You're right to challenge the fans. I think we need a mentally tougher team. We need a mentally tougher fan base. I mean, that's a good word. To be at the program at the level that we want to be, we want to continue to show up. We want to be next game mentality. We want our players to do that too. And nothing sends a message that we care than getting our butts in the seat for that Kansas State game. And as much as we love Jerome Tang, we want to beat them. We want to send them home sad. He can have other opportunities to beat other teams. So let's make sure that
he got a big win on the road this week.
Got a big win on the road, exactly. So I love that comment, Travis. And then just one comment. I was looking at Ken Palm, 62nd in defensive efficiency. So we'd gotten up to the 40s after the Gonzaga game and the stretch before the Iowa State game. But after tonight, we're now 16th in offensive efficiency. We really need to be top 10 there because our defense is not good. Yep. And then 62nd in defensive efficiency. That's worse than the Big 12. So that's a bad thing that's got to be fixed. And I know the coaches will work hard to fix it, but we got issues there. Yep. And that's the reason we lost this game. It's mainly the defensive effort. The offense was pretty good. The turnovers were bad. We had an opportunity to really run away with that game, but we turned it over too much. But really, we can lay most of the problems on the defensive end.
Yeah, like the brothers Carver mentioned, 87 points should be enough to win you a game.
By 20.
Yeah, especially with the way we started. We looked bought in, and
they're a good team.
They are a good team.
They're a Sweet 16 caliber team, but they've got holes. They don't shoot the three well, and we should have taken advantage of that. We didn't, so that's disappointing, and hopefully we can in Fort Worth, but. Another night in the Big 12.
Business to take care of before we get there.
Yep.
Yeah, gents, we got another call, but one thing I want to ask you real quick is Jamie Dixon, does he strike you as a disciple of Jack McKinney somehow? Because he really seems inspired by the Showtime Lakers with how efficient they are on the fast break in transition. I was blown away by it.
Yeah. Well, I think it all starts with Mike Miles. But Davian Ball is really good at that too. Yeah, they push it, and I mean they have to because they don't if you get them in a half court game, I don't think they're as good.
No, and as much as I dislike that man,
good coach.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean he's playing to the strengths. They can run really well, and that's what they chose to do the entire game.
There's good coaches in this league, great coaches. I mean everybody really has a pretty good coach right now. So it's a tough league to get wins, and that's why it's the best league in college basketball.
Yep.
We got Josh in Dallas, I believe.
Hey Josh, welcome to the post-game call-in show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
All right, I just have a couple things to say. Basically, my issues, I feel like Scott Drew just kind of drives me crazy. I feel like the end of play inbound to Josh was great. I really liked that. It was smart, got us a good play for Keontae. What I thought was stupid the entire game is why are we pressing when they're breaking our press super easily and then getting into easy 3-on-2 situations that they've been killing us with all night. secondly, to kind of go along with that, why do we keep Ojonwuna and Samba in the game and not just go like 4 guards and Bridges or Loner? Because they're killing us with that pick and roll the entire time.
Yeah, well, Ojonwuna, he's got to get better guarding the pick and roll, but he did some really good things tonight. I think his presence on the floor was a net positive. I agree with you on the press.
100%.
I think if they'll watch film, they'll probably scrap that, at least against TCU. I'm sure they saw something on film that led them to believe that they could have some success with that.
Yeah, I'm interested
But
to
TCU
see
was
where,
prepared.
like, if you could pull them up to see where they sit turnover-wise, like in the Big 12, or how many they average a game. Because when you've got a guy like Mike Miles,
no, they're
not,
good.
He's
So-
not going to turn it over a bunch.
So what's crazy about them offensively? I mean, obviously tonight they were great offensively. Other than shooting the three, but so they are top 20 in turnover percentage offensively, and they also turn you over. They're top 20 in turning teams over. So that's a great combination.
they're plus eight tonight.
Top 20 in offensive rebounding percentage. They are 64th in getting to the free throw line. And with all those stats, they're like 64th in offensive efficiency. And it's because they shoot so bad. Like their 3-point shooting percentage and even their effective field goal percentage is pretty bad normally. But if you got point blank shots at the rim, you're going to shoot pretty good. And unfortunately, that's what they got a lot of. They were 30 for 54 from the 2-point, and a lot of that I think damage was in the second half. They had. At one point in the first half, we were up 17, and they had a 4.7% chance of winning that game, and they pulled it off. That's discipline. 17-point leads you should be able to protect, especially at home. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We got another call, Jacob.
Not at this time.
Okay.
So at this point, you're going to have to steal 1 or 2 on the road. And we know that every game is going to be a battle in this conference. So. I'm hoping that it's either, OU, UT, places that I already have tickets for. I would love to go. It's always as satisfying as it is to get a win at home and, pump up the crowd and things like that. It's more fun to go on the road. I have a blast on the road, and, I've got my partner in crime over there on the couch. He's bought in and travels the country with me, and, so hopefully we can do that, but we got to take care of Saturday first, and it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, no.
But I don't think they're shooting 60% from 3 like they did yesterday. They shot 60% from 3.
Let's hope not.
Nope.
Yeah, we got some issues. Our 3-point defense is pretty good, but man, the defense on dribble drives is what's frustrating. All right, I got a text. This is from Master Pierce MPH. What can Baylor do to become better defensively in transition and fast? One issue I saw was pressing at the wrong times, leading to fast breaks and open lanes. Poor transition defense shows up regardless of that. Shout out to Love and Josh O. Josh O is the energy we need. Agree with all those comments. And it's the coaches are great. They are pros at what they do, and I know they're going to make adjustments. I know we're going to be a better team later in the year. We do have to get to 8 wins in the conference, I think. 7-11 may be good enough with the win against UCLA and Gonzaga.
Yeah,
unless if you beat Arkansas, but you got to get to 8 wins in the conference, and if we
I'm
get
not
there,
okay with 7.
yeah, we got to get.
I need at least
we're a
500.
9-9, 10-8 caliber team, but we're sure not showing it these last 2 games. We've got to start getting on a roll here and get on a roll fast, no doubt about it.
Yep.
All right. Well, any other calls, Jacob? Is that it?
I believe that's it
All right.
for right now.
People do not want to talk about this loss. I don't blame
Why?
them. Yeah. It's always more fun. The post-game shows are more fun after a win.
For sure.
I did get
As soon as you asked me, I
my
was
digs
pumped.
on Texas, though.
Huh?
I did get some digs in on Texas, which always makes it
that always helps.
All right, you've been listening to a post-game Sikkim 365 call-in show with Ashley Hodge and Chris Fuentes. Jacob on the board. Sikkim Bears, thank you for listening, and be there Saturday for the return of Jerome Tang.
Give him some claps before the game, and then let him
let's
have
get a
it
win.
during the game.
Let's get a win, no doubt.
Sick 'em.